And for more perspective on this, listen into this analysis by Chris McGarrian from the Associated Press.
President Biden came out today at the White House to outline stiff sanctions that he wants to use to punish the Kremlin for the invasion of Ukraine. These sanctions, he says, have gone farther than anything the United States has done in the past in hopes of showing that Russia's aggression will not be tolerated and will not succeed in the long run. This is not the full force of what the Biden administration has prepared. Some steps like sanctioning Vladimir Putin personally have not been taken at this point. And President Biden basically said that we're going to see how this goes, see what happens next, and maybe roll out more in the future. Have to kind of keep pace with Russia's actions as Russia continues more sanctions to be put in place. They don't want to escalate the situation, but they want to try to have a firm punishment as this war continues.
Now, according to Ukraine, Russian forces captured the Chernobyl nuclear power plant after a fierce battle on the first day of the Kremlin's invasion of Ukraine. The plant is located nearly 129 kilometers north of Ukraine's capital of Kiev. Ukraine says it is one of the most serious threats to Europe today, adding that it is impossible to say that the Chernobyl nuclear power plant is safe. Soldiers invading from Belarus in the north had earlier entered the area around the former nuclear power plant. The Chernobyl power plant was the site of the world's worst nuclear accident. A nuclear reactor exploded here in 1986, sending radioactive contamination across Europe. Around 350,000 people were evacuated following the explosion, with many leaving their homes and belongings behind forever. A nuclear exclusion zone was then established in 1986 around the area most affected by the radiation. Later, it was expanded to cover other affected areas. The area surrounding the Chernobyl nuclear power plant, including nearby city of Pripyat, have since deteriorated into abandoned ghost towns. The Chernobyl site still remains covered by mammoth protective sarcophagus. And for more perspective, we were earlier joined by Lester Munson, Senior Fellow at the National Security Institute. Let's listen into his analysis of the situation.
The United States and its allies can be doing as much as it can to help those Ukrainians who are actually fighting the Russians by providing them with weapons and other assistance as appropriate, so that Russia bears a huge cost for its terrible mistake in invading Ukraine. President Biden said today that he thinks Vladimir Putin is looking beyond just Ukraine. That should be of great concern to Europeans. There are NATO countries right on the border of Russia, Poland, the Baltic states, just to name four. So if this conflict does metastasize into other areas, it immediately would trigger possible NATO action. The United States and other NATO allies would be compelled to come to the aid of countries threatened by Russia. And in that case, we would see a much larger scale of fighting.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.